Just getting stuff up and running for a bonus day of the Path to Presence retreat. Give everyone a moment to arrive here. Some of you may not have counted on bonus days. Up and running for a bonus day. Okay, there we go. So, welcome to this perhaps unexpected bonus day in the Path to Presence retreat. All right, looks like everything's happening. And many of you therefore might be watching this as a replay, especially if you're just needing like a little more assistance in really kind of getting your practice on track and making sure it's something that you can continue to show up for. So for a long time, I've been offering the practice with this kind of a format where we do 5 days, and then I have the live Q&A for those who can and want to be able to make it. And then we take a day off, which was yesterday. There's no retreat, just either for you to kind of pause and rest and let all of this information integrate, which can be helpful, or you get a chance to see how you do on your own, just showing up, how your motivation is going. And then I like to kind of sneak one more bonus day in, which is today. And today, of course, we look at another sort of question to bear in mind, which is why not? This is really an eye to all the obstacles, the limiting belief, also the excuses on why we don't show up. I might in the future, in fact, if you're watching this replay or even live, feel free to comment. Do you think I should make this a 6-day retreat instead and include this in here? I feel like it's valuable information, so I always like to have it. I don't know. That's something. Every year I tweak it a little bit, so that's what I'm thinking about next time. Technically, I teach for 7 days, but I call it a 5-day retreat because that's like the kernel of the teaching. Anyway, today we get to look at the big no and what gets in the way. And I have showed you as I have gone some of my major resources. I really am surrounded by a pile of papers and books, but we have Mindful Self-Discipline by Giovanni Dienstmann. You can see all my many little things here. We also have Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, I do have a ton of other books down here, some of which have been really helpful. This one, for example, has been pretty good. I draw some things from here too. A bunch of meditation books down here. But today I'm going to draw a little bit more from kind of a fun, humorous book, a little bit lighter reading, which is called Just Sit. And it's by 2 women. What are their names? Suki and Elizabeth Novogratz. I think they might be like stepsisters or something, or sisters-in-laws or something like that. Anyway, this book has a lot of like drawings. It's a little bit less text, as you can see. And in here, they have such a nice drawing I wanted to share with you. The moment of no, this sort of monster of no. That's really what we're talking about today when we're talking about why not? Why not meditate? Why not show up? And in some of my promotional videos and reels and stuff, as I got ready for the retreat, I had fun just scratching the surface of some of the more common excuses that people give why they don't show up. So the moment of no is resistance, which is actually happening all of the time through daily life in many small ways. And the more you sit, the more you practice meditation, the easier it can be to notice the moment of no. So this is really with an eye to the long-term sustainability, this longevity of our practice. So what do you do with resistance? The simple answer is you continue to show up and pay attention, or you continue to sit and practice meditation and observe and notice the moment of no. In a nutshell, that's what it is, right? So we have a lot of common obstacles to meditation practice. Some of them are more sort of practical. Some of them are a little bit deeper. I'm going to go through a few of them now. But before I do that, I actually wanted to pause and go back to, let me find my emails. I took to figure out where it is. Here it is. When people join the Facebook group, and I asked them a few questions when you become a member. I ask you about what would you like to learn more about with meditation and mindfulness. And the second question, what are you struggling with when developing a consistent meditation practice? And sometimes they're just amazing answers. And it's really helpful for me to kind of hear from you on what kinds of things come up. So I just wanted to pause and bring those in because, in a way, they're often what people come into the retreat needing help with or seeking insight on. So I'm just going to pause. I haven't really done this in this part of the retreat before. So, what would you like to learn more about? Methods for calming anxiety, getting out of my comfort zone, how to quiet my mind, how to build the time into my day with full commitment, how to keep motivated when feeling anxious or low, and how to relax more and take time out for me. This is just a very small sample of some of those answers that from people who've joined in the last 2 weeks, basically, maybe 3 weeks. Just to kind of see again that variability, the diversity of different reasons that people might come into meditation, some of the different struggles that might be here. And that question, what are you struggling with? Here are some of those questions, those answers. Distractions and having a routine, motivation, accountability, distractions and always being busy, setting time aside to get a routine, to not be distracted with a heavy schedule. I find I'm so busy during the day, but by the time I get home, I'm exhausted. So I just sit on the couch and try to unwind watching TV. I just feel like I don't have time to meditate. I do it consistently for 5 to 15 minutes during the weekday, but I just have not been able to do it over the weekend. It never feels like a good time. It makes me sleepy. So there you go. From the last few weeks, people who've been attending the retreat, there is a little sample of some of the things that people have been struggling with, and I'm going to address some of them. Actually, I did do a live Q&A yesterday, and I took some of the common concerns and talked a little bit about distractions. As you could hear in this little sample there, distractions are a pretty common issue with meditation. How to overcome obstacles is something that I go into greater depth with in my 6-week program. We do a whole week on softening resistance, on that moment of no, all the reasons why we don't show up, and resistance in general. What I call strategies of resistance to being present. So we can use self-compassion, opening space, recognizing and allowing, turning towards and befriending our difficulties. This is what meditation really provides us with an opportunity to do. So we hope that we can show up when things are good and when things are bad as well. And sitting when things are difficult or painful is when your practice is tested and also when it is most important and can offer you the most support right when you need it. Yeah. So it's really important that you get in the habit of practicing when things don't feel as routine, like on the weekends, maybe even this weekend. That you get in the habit of practicing when things feel busy or overwhelming, remembering that you can scale it down to some sort of bare minimum. Bare minimum is helpful. 3 mindful breaths, 1 minute of meditation, 3 minutes, some kind of really, really attainable baseline. There's also deeper patterns of resistance. In traditional Buddhist texts, they talk about the 5 hindrances. They're really into numbering things. So we have the 5 hindrances: desire, anger or ill will, sloth and torpor or apathy, laziness, restlessness, and doubt. So these we can look at on a sometimes deeper. We often have a mix of them. It's not like astrology where we're just one or something like that. We often have a mix, but we have our tendencies as well. And they might not just, we might have a chance to notice in meditation, but they're often like deeper in our lives. I love that meditation practice is a practice, that we use that word practice, that we are all practitioners practicing how to be with the moment, how to be present, how to relate, how to notice how we relate to ourselves and each arising moment. So really kind of seeing that, remembering that it's a practice. It's okay to not show up for a day here and there. It's okay to scale it back when you need to. It's okay to shift it when you need to. It's okay to kind of continually um, nudge it a little here and there as you need it, right? It's not perfect. It's imperfect. It's us practicing life in a sea of impermanence, right? Where nothing is really perfect until you are dead. In fact, today I am going to show up for my normal Monday 1 p.m. practice, just with a short practice on death and impermanence, mostly because it's the season with Halloween tomorrow and Dia de los Muertos, or All Souls Day, soon after. Anyway, sidebar there, sorry. So towards the end there, we had a pretty common complaint that I hear every retreat from someone inevitably, which is sleepiness. And this one I have some very good practical tips on. And it's a common issue, especially some people are coming to meditation hoping to improve their sleep. So they might be practicing late at night. Some people are just busy and overwhelmed and they're not getting enough rest. So if sleepiness is an obstacle for you and part of your big no, your why not meditate, then you might want to look at a practical thing. What time are you meditating? Is it too close to your bedtime? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough rest? And then we can look at your posture. Are you meditating always lying down? Maybe you need to try sitting up. Or if you're lying down, you can bring some alertness and energy into your body with something as simple as, when you're lying down, raising your forearm. Okay, so your fingertips are up in the air. Or taking a mudra, like putting two fingertips together. It doesn't really matter which ones. Doing something that just brings a little alertness into your body can help with that too. You might want to try different techniques of meditation. You might want to try something that is more concentration or focus oriented. So, for example, one of the practices I share in Calm Mind, Clear Heart is counting the breath. I'm just thinking because I'm pausing because sometimes I use that practice when I want to go to sleep. But some of those focus practices can be really helpful into really paying attention to how we guide our attention back, which is incidentally the practice we did yesterday, not counting the breath, but how we guide our attention back. How we might just, our first instinct might be to sort of harshly judge ourselves for the wandering mind, but it's natural part of being alive and being human. So we learn to soften, to pause, to notice, and then to gently let it go and return our attention. Okay. And taking a moment to think, are you having enough balance in your life? Balance, just like everything in life, is something that's always shifting, right? Work-life balance, all the other kinds of balance, exercise and rest, all these kinds of balances. Meditation practice can be a good window to seeing how that's going. And so we talked a little bit about distraction yesterday, but basically, if your monkey mind feels like it's running away from you, sometimes we are resisting monkey mind. We're clinging to this meditation myth that it should be pure silence, pure void and emptiness. Instead, we learn how to tend and befriend our monkey minds and all of our thoughts. If you have questions, even if you're watching a replay, feel free to put them in here. Just checking. Nope. Okay. So let me look at that list in the email. I have my own notes, but I wanted to actually directly address them. Busyness, setting time. That's what a lot of this retreat has been about, right? How to have great cues for your practice, visual cues, schedule cues, activity, habit-based cues, how to set reminders for yourself, schedule it in, how to maybe let go of some things to have an offering, to make time for something that's more aligned with your values, like a meditation practice. So there's so many pieces to not necessarily finding the time, but really making the time. We have to make it a conscious habit. We have to do what Atomic Habits James Clear suggests. Let me find this quickly. I don't have this earmarked, but I think I know where it is. Sorry, give me a sec to make sure I say it correctly. The rules on, oh boy, it's a big appendix. The rules on, here we go, creating a good habit. First law, make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Okay. Make it obvious. I'm just going to take a moment to read from his book. This is where you might do an audit of your habits and become aware of your habits. You might use habit stacking, design your environment, really work on your cues. Make it attractive, joining a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. You can also create a motivation ritual and do something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit, or temptation bundling, something you enjoy right afterwards, like a little extrinsic reward. Make it easy, reduce friction, make it easy for yourself to show up, decrease the number of steps between you and your good habit. Prime the environment. This kind of goes back into the cues. He has a 2-minute rule, but I have that bare minimum rule to scale it down, make it easy on yourself. And then, of course, get the support you need, again, with the community or meditation buddy, using any programs, centers, apps, inline virtual support that you might need. Make it satisfying. Use reinforce it. Give yourself an immediate reward when you complete your habit. Make doing nothing enjoyable. Use a habit tracker. Keep track of your habit. Log your meditation and don't break the chain. Missing 1 day is okay. It's an accident. Missing 2 days is a new habit. Yeah, there we go. That's the book in a nutshell. Actually, it has a lot on bad habits too. Okay, so let's also talk about procrastination, because this is another piece I haven't talked about that relates to making the time, building in the time. All right. So if you are procrastinating, if you notice that you're like, oh, I'll meditate later. I think that was one of the comments in here, that you want to just sit and watch TV and then, oops, no time to meditate. So here we get into the habit of pausing. And actually, Giovanni really talks about pausing. You want to become aware of the underlying pain prompting procrastination. You can just ask yourself with compassionate curiosity, what pain am I avoiding now? When you notice there's a procrastination, when you get in the habit of pausing. And then, of course, allow yourself to soften your commitment if needed, which helps to decrease the pain of action, reducing friction. Make it easier. Maybe it's too hard. Maybe you need to make it easier to lower your time, or make it an easier place, an easier time, things like that. Lower your time, meaning the length of time. Or maybe you need to increase the pain of inaction and ask yourself, what is this decision doing to my future self? Think about who you want to be and what your goals are, what the benefits you are that you're seeking. What are the hidden costs of my inaction? With the decision to procrastinate, am I training myself to succeed or fail? So I think that's really helpful. I think a lot of us can procrastinate in many, many ways. And it's kind of a smaller moment of that big no, monster guy, resistance. Another funny thing from this book, Just Sit, that I want to share. Okay, there's a little section on here. Why aren't you meditating? A non-helpful story? I'm not a meditator. Right? Maybe that who is tripping you up. A helpful story? I want to be like Bruce Lee. Maybe this is us imitating those with status, or someone we aspire to be. All right. Why aren't you meditating? A non-helpful story? I suck at this. My mind won't shut up. A helpful story? I want to be like Bruce Lee. A non-helpful story? I'm way too busy to actually meditate. Helpful story? I want to be like Bruce Lee. A non-helpful story? I need to deal with reality. Helpful story? I want to be like Bruce Lee. A non-helpful story, it takes years to benefit from it. Here's a few other. It feels selfish. I'm too restless. It's not my thing. Meditation is too hard. And of course, the helpful story here is I want to be like Bruce Lee. So remembering sometimes we need to just, there's so many ways to kind of talk our way out of the excuses we have for not showing up in our meditation practice. And these are like some other sort of limiting beliefs, those excuses that we have, like, I can't sit still. I can't sit still for 20 minutes. I did a reel on this one too. What are you doing when you're watching TV or a movie, in those Netflix, or working often at a computer? A lot of people have sedentary jobs, or checking your email or your social media, or sitting on the train, right? There's a lot of time in life that we actually do sit still, but we're not focused on the fact that we're not as still as we want to be, or this myth that we have to be completely still, right? There's some aspect of resistance that would help us to actually soften. I'm too anxious, I'm too restless, I'm too distracted to meditate. You don't come, or I'm too busy, I'm too stressed. You don't come into this practice already calm, peaceful, and perfect balance, right? We're going to work with where you're at, so make it easy on yourself. Just do a little bit, soften the resistance to the idea that you have to already be calm, that you have to be able to quiet your thoughts. We're just actually sitting with what is. And that might include sometimes feeling busy, feeling stressed, feeling anxious, right? I might include that. But these pauses, this practice, this showing up when things are good or bad, really does become such a supportive self care. How about I feel silly. I don't know what I'm doing. This is a kind of doubt. I'm going to pause and talk about doubt because it's a little bit more of an insidious kind of reason. This was hard for me to do a video on necessarily, but sometimes people do sit to practice and I know they're like, I don't get it. It's not my thing. I feel kind of silly. Like, what am I doing here? What am I focusing on the breath? It just feels kind of awkward, especially if you're newer to practice. So this might be a kind of doubt that's showing up for you. And typically we talk about 3 types of doubt. Doubting yourself, your capacity, doubting your path or your strategy, doubting your goal or the purpose. Right? So doubting yourself comes from believing that we're not good enough. And this is something we can work with in meditation. And again, with that self-compassion piece. Sometimes that rain practice that we did on day 5 is really helpful for that trance of unworthiness, as Tara Brach calls it, believing we're not good enough. This is really a limiting belief, okay? This is where we've crossed over from like, I fall asleep, I can't find the time, to like deeper resistance. So here's a fun little hack that I think Giovanni told me about in his book. When it comes to doubts, just as you might do with distractions, you can actually tell them, not now, right? When the distracted mind comes up and you're in meditation and you're thinking of a detailed email that you're going to send back to a problematic email, right? And your mind is like way off, tangled up in some kind of difficult thing. As an example, might be a lot less benign. It might be like your shopping list. Anyway, you can say to those thoughts sometimes, not now, right? Often those things will still be there and need your attention later when you're not sitting to practice meditation. Same with doubt. If you feel that thing where it's like, I can't really do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not good enough. This is silly. What's the point? Where's the purpose, right? Whatever it might be. I don't know if this is the right kind of meditation for me. All these versions of doubt. You can say to yourself, not now. Maybe you give your doubt a name. Doug. doubting Doug. Not now, Doug. People, that's the whole thing. People get into their harsh inner critic and naming them, right? So you can also try procrastinating in your doubts. Be like, oh, I'm gonna doubt later, not now. Just kind of do what you can to kind of hold it at bay. And you can also, with a lot of these obstacles, a lot of these limiting beliefs, these non-helpful stories, we can try to get perspective by leaning into the impermanence of all things, including doubt, right? Including distracted mind, right? We can actually, sometimes this idea that things are always changing and shifting and life is impermanent, these are things that can really support us, okay? So let's see, I think that covers most of things. And now we're gonna sit for a practice. I know I don't have a lot of folks live here in these bonus days, but even if you're watching a replay, something I haven't talked about too much is I am offering a little discount on anyone who wants to join the Calm Mind Clear Heart program. I only do it once a year these days. And so it starts the first full week of November. So the sign up is this week by Thursday, November 2nd. However, if you sign up today, if you're like in an early bird situation, I will send you a coupon for an additional sign up for half off so that you can have greater community that's joining you. Maybe you can bring a friend or partner. Because I find that folks have done that in the past and they have greater success, and I want you to have greater success. So it's as simple as that. Only 10 people at the maximum, but I do need 4 people to join. And yeah, so more people better as well. And that's today, Monday, October 30th. If you can sign up today, that would be awesome. We go a lot more into all of this, how to keep your habit going, how to troubleshoot obstacles. I do a one-on-one session with folks to really kind of hear from you personally and in a little bit more of a private space as well. So in addition to the Calm Mind Clear Heart registration closing on Thursday, then we will pick the timing. So the timing of the live calls depends on who joins. Sometimes I have people from different time zones predominantly joining. So we'll find a time that works for everybody as best we can. Also on Thursday, I take all the videos down from the Path to Presence retreat. So if you're finally getting to the replay, this very last bonus session, and it's before Thursday, congratulations. If you want to rewatch anything, now's the time before Thursday. All right, so let's sit and practice. We're going to go back to beginner's mind. Even though it's the end of the retreat, we have this need to remain fresh and constant. And that's what a lot of the retreat is about, is that ability to continue to engage and to stay connected and aware in the practice. So we're going to do a practice on refresh and getting back to the basics. Can we meet each moment with openness and curiosity? Maybe even that little self-compassion or kind of more wholehearted presence of care as well. Suzuki Roshi, the Zen monk, says, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are a few. So I want to keep that open-minded, beginner's mind, fresh eyes aspect. So I'm going to invite you into a comfortable posture. Drink my tea. One of the ways that we can meet the moment with fresh eyes is really engaging our senses, which we've done a little in this practice, using the eyes and using the ears with listening and looking meditations, but also staying with the breath, noticing the stream of life. Each step in the river is not the same. So let's just do a little practice. Take some time to pause and consider what posture might support your body the best this morning or this evening, whenever time it is. What do you need right now? Getting whatever extra blanket or pillow, or maybe sitting in a different location. We're already bringing a sense of curiosity when we pause to ask that as we enter into our practice. Meditation is, in a way, a pause from daily life, but we can kind of mark the beginning and the end of the practice by pausing and noticing the practice itself. This might be something I have to build into my retreat in a more permanent way. As we pause at the start of the practice, we get to kind of be curious about where we're at. Where are we starting? Recognize what's going on in the body, in the mind, the heart. And maybe take a couple of steps in respect to where we're at. A couple of things to make it easier, make it more enjoyable. Okay, to really kind of embrace and be in a compassionate manner with kindness where we're at. And then at the end of the practice, I'll ask you to pause again to notice how things might have shifted. So pause to notice how things are, where we're at. Bringing that sense of curiosity and care. Letting yourself settle, softening the body, the mind. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and just taking some time to arrive. Really connecting to the present moment. Maybe you feel the ground beneath your feet, your pelvis, your legs. Just as we began at the start in day one in our meditation practice, we're arriving into the present once more, starting where we're at, connecting to our feet on the ground. The path is possibly unfinished. It's always the next step. We get that opportunity, that gift to create the path as we walk. Where are we standing right now? No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man. A quote by Heraclitus. I could never be a news announcer. In any case, who are you today? What is your river like right now? Really pausing. Create a little more space and continuing to bring that beginner's mind, that curiosity, maybe to your body and the sensations in your body. And just noticing pressure, tingling, buzzing, cool, warm, whatever might be alive right now. And you might notice as you pause to connect to sensation and you become aware of, for example, pressure in the pelvis as you're sitting or lying down. It doesn't necessarily stay in the foreground of our attention. Life is bubbling up within us all the time, and we're really like a field of sensations with different aspects kind of coming to the foreground, lighting up. And when you wake up to the wandering mind, which is inevitable, and just pausing again and softening, bringing that little compassion, little care and kindness to yourself, to this condition of the human wandering mind. Just coming back, noticing the body sitting, sensations, connection to the earth. Our job is to show up and pay attention. What's the quality of your attention right now? This might tell you about the state of your thoughts, your mind and heart. This showing up and paying attention, it's ongoing. We get to do it again and again. Now we get to do it again in this moment. What's going on? Bringing that curiosity and care to your experience this moment. Letting the past remain in the past, letting the future remain in the future. Connecting to the body, maybe the breath. Noticing the flow of breath. Breath is a nice inroad to meditation because it really invites our attention to slow down, to become breath-paced. Notice the whole inhale, beginning, middle, and end. Maybe you notice the pause between breaths. The whole exhale, beginning, middle, and end. Look, there's another pause. What's the quality of your breath? Just being curious. Don't have to know all the answers. Even if you're feeling some doubt already, you can practice not now. Distracted mind, not now. Kindness, compassion, gently returning your mind to the body, the breath. Or maybe another anchor. Maybe you're doing some looking or listening. And you can even apply this noting technique that when you wake up to the wandering mind, you can just note to yourself, refresh. And checking in again with this moment. What's happening now? Showing up, paying attention. Whenever your attention moves on to something new, to the next thing, refresh. And as you make space and bring a little bit more intimate attention to the moment, you might already have recognized a few moments of now. Holding some compassion for yourself. And with that curious beginner's mind, that same kind of kindness, refresh, connecting once more to this moment. Inviting yourself to rest. Maybe there's a little extra effort. Can you make it easier? Can you make it more effortless? Feel the settling. And just continuing to settle, continuing to show up and to pay attention, to notice. I'm going to read a poem, even though it's the very, very end of this retreat. This poem by John O'Donohue is called For a New Beginning. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? And then the delight when your courage kindled, and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again, with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure, Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease and risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. And as you hear the meditation bell ringing to signal the end of the practice, taking a pause once more to notice how you feel now, pausing to notice what may have shifted in this little practice. What may have surprised you? What may have felt good and been easy? What may have been difficult? And if you'd like, you're welcome to share any part of that in this final meditation here. And really the message in this practice and this the benefit of having these fresh eyes, this beginner's mind, is just showing up, paying attention, and to just keep showing up. Even though the retreat is coming to a close here, keep showing up. Remembering what an act of self-love and self-care meditation can be. And I hope that it's supporting you in all of your endeavors. And that I am here as a resource, whether you join the 6-week program called Mind Clear Heart, or whether you show up on the Mondays at 1 o'clock for the free live meditations, or the Seaside Meditation Circle Wednesday evening practice every month, different theme. I hope you'll make use of anything I'm offering, and feel free to, I'll be sending out a link for feedback. I always appreciate feedback, which is also another chance to win a free month of the Seaside Meditation Circle. So there's a little more giveaway, a little more motivation. But really, it's that simple. Bringing that curiosity. When I say showing up, it's also how you're showing up. Are you showing up with that beginner's mind, that curiosity, and paying attention and doing it, consistently, being compassionate to yourself when it's hard and trying to make it easier, and making use of the resources that are here. All right, that's it for me. And I've enjoyed having you walk the path to presence with me. And thank you so much for those of you who have showed up. Thanks, Jackie, in the Facebook group here. And I will still be here on Mondays and all those other times. If you have questions, reach out. Okay, be well.